YouTubers, welcome back for another adventure. And what you're looking at is a Polaris Phoenix 200. This is 200 cc's with a torque converter. I got this at the Rhinebeck car show and I believe I paid $350 for it. I'm not exactly sure about the year because I haven't located the VIN. If you look at this Polaris and you look a little bit in front of the motor, you could see the VIN right there. And I looked in the same place on the Phoenix and did not find it. So if anybody knows where I'd find the VIN, please let me know. Or maybe I bought one without. So this is definitely a first look, first start kind of video. Hopefully it does start. And this is more or less how I got it with the extra plumbing. I'm not sure what this is, but it's sticky as heck. You can see it does have a tail light. The muffler's intact. Spare belt. Once again, some more plumbing here. Plumbing down there. Somebody put an air filter up front. I assume the plumbing leads to it. It did come with both keys, right? That's a good thing. Well, let's get started. Let's see what the wiring looks like, what it looks like under the seat and so forth. So for all you CSI fans, it seemed to come stored with near oak trees or something. And you know, as I kind of go along, I try to notice things. The scorpions on the back look pretty good, though they look a little small. 20 by 10 by 9. I would expect 22s in the back. This did not come through with an air box, and having debris in there is not good. I guess they have extra big mice wherever this was to chew holes through. Yeah, wiring. I mean, I had one time there was a black wire like this, and it was meant to go to the positive side. I mean, I'm not quite sure why they have these extra 2 wires here. You know, you always wonder how far you want to go. I guess by the different kind of color of patina there that carb was swapped out. I mean, it looks like your typical PZ 27. Doesn't really fit the mount. See how there's bare metal on top of the mount. So anyway, I guess we always want to start out by doing the following. Is the engine seized? It is not seized, but it doesn't seem to be loaded with compression either. I'm going to put a jump pack on it, see if the puppy turns on and what it does from there. So both front tires took air, though this one has a boogered up valve, which makes it roll a lot easier. Now I'm trying to hook up the jump pack, right? Turning it on, turn the key on. We do have a light there. I did not hook up the extra black wire. The red wire with a fuse on it, I'm pretty sure that goes to the hot. Now the black wire, you got a choice. You could go hot or ground. If it's meant to be grounded and you go to hot, chances are you're going to cook something. If it's meant to be hot but you touch it to ground, right, you got no power there because you got no hot there. So if one is going to be risky, it's better to test it on the ground side than the hot side. But given that I have ignition, right, I'm not, or I have power to the dashboard, which implies that there should be ignition and there should be headlights, and there is, right? You got all this stuff going on. I'm gonna hook it to nothing for now. Right, given the tape on it and everything else, I'm gonna assume it's an extra, so I'm gonna try to get away with hooking it to nothing. And as we go along, maybe we'll figure out where it goes and what it's attempting to do. If I'm to the point where I'm going to hit it with some starting fluid, and we'll see if it does anything. Right now, you guys can see there's no gas going to the carb. It smells pretty good, but the thing is bone dry. I don't know if it was running and they kind of took it out of commission to do this submarine upgrade, right? It appears as if the way the mud's through it right up to here, I think they did some submarining with them. Anyway, let me get some starting fluid. Yeah, I mean, RTV. I think they tried some snorkeling and so forth with it. By the way, I'm not sure why the extra pipe there, given that they're breathing through there. I don't know. I don't know why people do this kind of silly stuff to their machines. This machine was in halfway decent shape from a stock point of view, right? I mean, the plastic looks pretty good and everything else, right? It's mostly complete. I'm not sure why you would set it up to do a mud bog with it. I don't know. Maybe if it's the only place you have to ride is a mud bog, you'd make your machine a mud bogging machine. Anyhow, let me hit it with some starting fluid. We'll see what happens. Well, let's see if we can't get this puppy to start. We got nothing going on with the key switch. I got my official jumper right here. We'll jump the solenoid, see if that starts it. Just a pinch will do ya. So we have ignition. She fired up. I checked the oil. The dipstick's on the far side of the motor, or not the dipstick. The sight glass is on the far side of the motor, and it looks like there's an aluminum cap that you typically take off to look at the flywheel to add oil. This thing, not the easiest one to check oil on, that's for sure. Let's see what's next. So I got a neutral light, and if you pop it into forward, it goes out, which is a good thing. And if you pop it into reverse, it goes yellow, which is a good thing. So it's got what appears to be a lot of the electrical system intact, even though I still don't know what that does for a living. I think it's an add-on. I think I see an extra light in the front. I think somehow they rigged that up to it. Anyway, looking at that carburetor, I think I'm going to attempt to give it some gas, see if it starts. Because I also want to check to see if I have any drive out of this thing. It doesn't look like they took this off, but they have a spare belt. I'm wondering if they kind of looked at it, and when it was time to change the belt, they kind of went chicken and put it up for sale. Once again, $350. That's about what I like to pay for stuff like this. I figure I got, I don't know, $150 worth of tires. You know, I need content for this channel, so, you know, a couple $100 to get some decent content out of it. And the more of these you end up with, you kind of throw in the die to see if you get a really nice, good machine, right? If you get a real good machine and you have 350 plus a battery, 4 carburetor, I mean, if you got under $500 and not too many hours in a good machine that starts, runs, and moves, you're in pretty decent shape, right? This machine, running, moving, on Marketplace, I don't know. It seems that they're down a little bit nowadays. I'd probably, you know, you start at 12 and you won't get it, then you go down to 1,000, and you probably settle in somewhere around 850. That's what I would picture something like this going for. By the way, what's it with these mufflers? It seems like every Polaris I get, they got the bubblegum job on the muffler. Do they rot out there and then people tack them up the best they can? Is that common? I'm not a Polaris guy, that's why I asked the questions. Fingers crossed that the carb will come back to life. On. I put gas in here. It's a cable choke, so I put a wire on it and pulled it tight so the choke's on. I go through starting fluid by the case, and that's probably how I should buy it. Wish me luck. Well, carburetor doesn't seem to be working. Let's see if it's got any drive belt left. I don't know if it's going to start in gear. Some do, some don't. Gonna run into the garbage cans. Let's hope not hard. That don't sound good. Well, it attempted to move a little bit. That's all a good sign. I like that. Though the engine quasi starts, I don't know what kind of shape it's in. That compression seems low, and it doesn't seem to be drawing fuel properly. Maybe my valves are a little too tight. It seems to be putting fuel out the carburetor. So I don't know if it's flooding or what the story is. Okay, where I am now is I'm going to get the remnants of this box out of here. I'm going to swap the carburetor to a regular PZ 2730 with a choke that actually locks in place. So I'm going to do that, and I really hope to get a ride out of this rig. See what kind of shape it's in. I'm concerned that the compression is a little low, so I got to mess with the valves. I'm also concerned about the condition of the rear end. I don't know if you can see my hand through here, but that boot doesn't look like it's on very well, or really it's partially off. And if they've taken this thing swimming, that means it's got water throughout the rear axle. I'm not a big fan of submerging all-terrain vehicles. A lot of people do, and it's your all-terrain vehicle. You can do whatever you want to it, but I'm not a big fan of doing that to mine. Reason is, my first all-terrain vehicle, 200S, I used to run it in the stream quite a bit. Turns out water got into the rear end, completely roasted and toasted and seized up my bearings, seized up the brakes, made a whole mess back there. It was hard to get apart. The bolts broke off that hold the axle to the axle housing to the frame. Getting it off, it was a crazy amount of work to kind of straighten it around. So I'm not a big fan of that. And by the way, with the four-wheel drives and everything else, it's a lot more work, a lot more expense. So running an all-terrain vehicle, and you know, it goes through a puddle and you keep going and it gets dry, and you dump the oil once in a while and change it, or you make sure you stay dry for the ones without oil in the back, okay. But I mean, I used to run it in the stream, and like those two guys down in Pennsylvania where they run their stuff in the water all the time, water sports on all-terrain vehicles. If you love your all-terrain vehicle, you don't do that unless you're willing to follow up with the maintenance necessary when you're done. Okay, I want you all to keep your feet down, your heads up. I need everybody to get out there and enjoy each and every day. I've been a lot busier than I want to be between relatives getting together. My mom just turned 90, so we threw her a party. She came up from down south. Just a lot of crazy stuff happening. Hopefully my life is becoming more of my own and I can play with my toys and I can bring you guys with me. So remember, once again, feet down, heads up, get out and enjoy each and every day. You don't know how many you're getting, so get out and have some fun. Bye now.